Hey guys, today we're looking at the Japanese Infantry 176 scale from Matchbox. Released in the 1980s as far as I'm aware. This artwork here is by Doug Post. It's quite nice as usual with Doug's work. As you can see, the right hand corner there, you've got three figures kneeling down, one firing the Arsaka rifle, the other two guys, one of them is loading it and the other one is using it in a sniper format. The artwork doesn't depict the scope, but the figure does. He's wearing kind of a ghillie suit there, which is quite nice as well and well represented on the figure. Behind him there you have a guy in a kind of banzai celebratory pose, waving his rifle above his head, and an officer in the front there kneeling down, operating his Nambu pistol. Behind them there then you have a officer waving a samurai sword. It's quite nice because he's a helmeted figure. It's nice to see the helmet and the soft cap being used in it adds a bit of variety to the range. Then to the left we have what looks like a Type 92 light machine gunner in the prone position, and behind him then we have two guys advancing with the bayonets fixed. As usual with Matchbox, on the side they'll depict some figures which are contained within the box itself, nicely shown there so that you know what you're getting if you're back in the 1980s purchasing this. And the end of the box then you have some further depictions, which is the officer again kneeling down with the Nambu pistol, the officer with the helmet, and a chap advancing with a rather startled expression, which is a representation of one of the advancing figures. It doesn't have the bayonet fixed, but the figures contained within the box all do have the bayonet fixed for the advancing poses. On the other side then, just turn the right way around, you have some other figures here depicted. A guy with the flag, light machine gunner, Type 98 heavy machine gun, and so on, some other guys there. On the back, as per usual with most manufacturers, you will have a paint guide. Here we have the Humbrol range. Basically just gives you 6 colours there as far as I can see. It advises you to blend some colours there. I didn't bother, to be honest. I'll show you what I did with a couple of my own figures in a moment. But quite a nice colour scheme in fairness. It came up quite well, I think. Release date here is stated as 1989, although I could have sworn they were around a little bit earlier than that, but perhaps not. So that's the box itself. As I say, artwork, Doug Post. Love that guy. His artwork is absolutely brilliant. So let's have a look at one of the sprues. So let's move these out of the way here for a moment. Here's a sprue here. So on this sprue, I'll just turn it this way. As you can see, standard Matchbox scenario, you have a relatively hard plastic. It's not as soft as some of the Matchbox releases. Detail is very, very good. Flash is minimal, almost non-existent. One or two little tiny bits here and there. Nothing a scalpel wouldn't take care of in a matter of moments. On this sprue you have the stand for the heavy machine gun. You have two of the Japanese mortars there, famously known as a knee mortar, although woe betide you if you put it to your leg to fire it, because it'll probably break your leg for you. It was strapped to the leg for carrying purposes, and that's, legend has it, where it got that particular title, the knee mortar. You have the officer here, 3 prone riflemen, various advancing infantry, 2 crawling, 2 celebrating banzai chaps, and 2 guys with flags. I always think that a pose like this, 1 is enough, to be honest. It's kind of a waste of a potential pose or 2 to have 2 of these kind of figures, but that's what you get, and there you go. The other sprue then, just to bring that into shot here, is this one. This one here has the main part of the heavy machine gun, several infantry advancing or with fixed bayonets, rifleman here and kneeling rifleman, this sniper chap down here. You can just about see that the scope is actually visible on this. 2 guys operating the heavy machine guns. Unfortunately it didn't give you a number 2 or an assistant in that particular pose, which is a bit of a letdown for most manufacturers, but I just used the crawling guy, which I'll show you in a few moments. So that's the sprue there. As I say, medium to even almost hard plastic. It's not quite hard, but it's good solid plastic. Detail is quite good in the casting there, can't fault that. One thing I would say is the rifles, due to the type of rifle that it was, I believe it's Arisaka, I can't remember the number, but long bayonet, long rifle. As a result, perhaps undercoat, paint them, and then give a little spray of a matte varnish over them might be advisable, just to make sure that you don't have any flaking little bits there and that. The sprue is marked 1980, as I said there earlier. I think that they came out a little bit earlier than the 89 depicted on the back of the box. That must be just when they were released. You can maybe just pick that up there, but it does say 1980. P5007, I think was the serial number on those. So anyway, there you go. Quite a old mold in fairness, but does the job. I can't complain. Matchbox, one of my favourites. Good quality figures all around. So, the nice thing about these is that they were released or re-released by Revell or Revell. I've heard various versions of the pronunciation of that particular brand. Artwork on this, quite nice. I don't normally like the Revell artwork on either their figures or any of their artwork, to be honest with you. I never really liked it for some strange reason. But this is quite good, in fairness. Depicts the figures that are contained within quite nicely there and relatively accurately, except the guy with the flag at the back there, which is slightly inaccurate. Also, it shows two flags. You only get one flag figure there. You don't get a flag on a post or anything like that kind of thing, or a flagpole. But looks quite good. You can't fault that, in fairness. Nice, lively artwork and depicts what's contained within. These are released in 2012. There you go. Out a few years now. The time of filming is May 2017, so they're out a few years, but still readily available. eBay and various sites. You won't have a problem finding these, to be perfectly honest with you. The back of the box, excuse the rattle because there's about 400 or 500 figures crammed into this of various manufacturers, all Japanese. The Revell color code, color guide system here. Usual story. Their own brand paints. Fair enough. Color chart here just depicts a very basic color scheme. A little bit unimaginative in comparison to the Matchbox one, I think, but at the same time they'll paint up quite nicely, I'm sure. You have the officer here and a guy standing with his rifle. So that's the box figures there. The Revell figures come in very similar plastic, kind of standard brown plastic there, as you can see. There's fractional flash on some of the Revell reissues, but this particular ones, they're not too bad. Nice detail on the Matchbox figures as usual. As you can see there, looks quite well. And they do paint up nicely. And speaking of painted figures, I'll just bring the camera in here, and hopefully that will focus for you. And you can see some of the figures there. There's the guy with the grenade. As usual at Matchbox, they didn't give him any other weapon other than the grenade. I think only the German Infantry and British Commando in the Matchbox range had a grenade guy with any other form of armament. There we go, focusing up on that for you. Here is the Type 98 machine gun. As you can see, what I've done here is I have given him an assistant in the form of the guy crawling. Now I could put in an ammo box or something from the spares bin into that there just to liven up a small bit, but they're only ever seen on my Wargames table. I don't do club games or any that kind of thing, so from that perspective, it's in my house. No one else is going to see it to be passing judgment on it. What else have we got here? Here is this sniper guy. As you can see, with this sort of ghillie suit, I have painted it in sort of a mottled kind of a colour. I hope that picks up for you. And you can just about see the scope on it there. The figures have been given a wash with Nullen or Nullen oil by Citadel, and that kind of just brings them down a small bit and adds a little bit more shading, a bit of detail. And even dry brush these guys, to be honest. I don't profess to be a very, very good figure painter, but at the end of the day, you just want to get the general idea on the tabletop and off you go. I could have been a bit neat with the scalpel there as well, looking at the guy on the left. Now what you can see there is I have changed the colour scheme slightly. I've given the guy on the left green puttees and a green shirt with his khaki pants, whereas I went for kind of all khaki with the other guy. Just have a little bit of variety on the table. Just takes a little bit more exciting to look at. Takes the boring element out of it. They're flocked with a little bit of just Hornby railway flock on the bases. The bases are just beer mats cut up into kind of semi-octagonal shapes. The reason I use kind of octagonal shapes is because you can kind of match them up a little bit more realistically, like this, in that sense, if you had an assortment of figures, rather than having round bases, which I don't like. So it's the Japanese guys there. Just for a size comparison, because the Matchbox seem to be a little bit large in scale in comparison to the other figures in their range, I have taken let's have a look at this guy here now. We have the officers. The guy on the left is Matchbox, obviously, and this chap here is Airfix. So there's a slight variance in size there. Not too noticeable on a Wargames table, I suppose, but, just to be aware that The Matchbox are a little bit larger, I find. There's the Airfix chap there, and the Matchbox lad there at that. Good little detail on them. As I say, I'm not a great figure painter, but I think they turned out relatively respectably enough. You know, I love that figure. It's quite a nice pose and kind of quite indicative of the period that they're trying to portray. So that's that. Let's have a look at the guy with the flag here. So the chap with the flag, how I did this was just painted the flag white, quite obviously, red dot in the centre for the rising sun, and a few black squiggles around the edges just to represent the Japanese writing that was often found on these. They're often highly prized war trophies. I think originally they were given to the soldier by maybe family or community or friends as a sort of a good luck token as he went off to combat. And it's highly prized by his adversaries as a bring back trophy or token from combat. So there you go. But, quite nice, a nice little idea in fairness. Just for comparison's sake, here is the Airfix version here. Airfix mold is a little bit older. I think it's from the 60s. I'm not quite sure. Detail isn't as good, but at the same time, the flag is a little bit larger. Once they're painted up, I'm sure they'll be fine. I actually will be doing a review on the Airfix figures at some point in the future once I get these guys painted up. So that's the Matchbox there, just to have a little comparison as well. And another type of figure, which I'll show you here. Here is the Matchbox Rifleman, standing rifleman. But in relation to Airfix, they also did a 132 range, and the figures were different from the 172 range. That's the other thing to note, that the Airfix are 172, these are 176. But it is possible in dime stores, dollar stores, euro stores, pound shops, whatever you call them, depending on your jurisdiction, to pick up a Hong Kong knockoff version of the 132 Airfix. Again, I'll be doing a greater review on these guys once I'm doing the Airfix figures themselves. But these guys, if you can get them, kind of match up fairly well with the Matchbox guys, size-wise. If you're looking to build a few Japanese armies, quite cheap and cheerfully, these will work out quite well. Just for comparison's sake, again, there is our officer from the Japanese range from Matchbox, and there is a knockoff Airfix guy beside him. So not too bad, in fairness. So that's basically a quick review of Matchbox and Revell's reissue of the Japanese Infantry in 1/76 scale. As I say, Matchbox, probably my favourite range of figures out there. Beautiful artwork by Doug Post again. These are readily available on eBay. Although generally speaking, it's the Revell form which you'll find a bit easier. But these are still quite good. I think I probably paid about, off the top of my head, I'd say probably about 10 or 11 euros. I'm based in Tipperary in Ireland, so postage was about 7, I think. So, you know, under 20 euros. At the time of filming this, 2017, so you can do your own currency conversion as to whenever you're watching this. So it's not going to break the bank if you want the original packaging. Of course, obviously the figures, but then once they're painted up, no one's going to know the difference, really, to be perfectly honest with you, because the Revell guys did such a good job in reissuing them, so no faults there. So that's it. That's the end of the Matchbox Japanese Infantry in 1/76 scale review. We'll be doing a few other reviews of other Matchbox figures, 8th Army, Anzacs, and a few others that to add to the list that I've already done. And we'll be doing some vehicles from various manufacturers in forthcoming videos. So until then, thank you for watching, take care, and enjoy your modelling.